Ladies, gentlemen, and destined ones of all ages, do you remember the wandering wight, that dillweed from the very start of the game in Chapter 1 who you were probably killed by on multiple occasions? The one that the game tries to use to teach you the concept of a boss being optional? Well, what if I told you he's just as much of a menace to enemies as he is to you as the player, to the point that it is capable of one-shotting most bosses even in New Game Plus when fully built up. That said, that capability is based off of crits, and you won't always crit, which is why you will still see me hit for a gray number of 6,500 occasionally, which is still a massive number. And the important thing here is sort of twofold. I will also talk about how to make this far more reliable. More crit chance, more frequent spirit skill usages, but lower damage per use. However, the main thing that I'm showing this is built around that chance. It's just a straight up one-shot worth of damage, because I think that's really fun. And if it doesn't proc, it's not like you're shit out of luck or anything either, because you are then still in a setup with over 300 attack, high crit potential, and you also have the ability to apply poison every time that you crit, so it's just really strong in general. All that said, the entire point of today's setup is to maximize the hell out of the Wandering Wight Spirit, as it is the largest singular hit you can get from a spirit skill, and you can use this in a safe position to do a ton of damage. But it just happens to be a really solid and strong build even while the spirit skill is on cooldown as a result of this, because the main things that the spirit skill will scale off of are the player's own attack, crit chance, and crit damage stats, as well as any bonuses from things like gourds, armor, or effects like Cloud Step's Unveiling Strike, or the bonus damage skill tree node against things that are immobilized. So without further ado, let's break down all the equipment that we use and how to get it, and then the skill tree and relic choices that we've got too. Starting off with the weapon, it will of course change depending on your point in the game, as the sort of lower grade version of this can be made around the end of Chapter 4 once you unlock the options that opens up for your armor. If you want singular large hit with this, your goal is the highest attack number staff that you can get at any given time, with the unique effect of the staff included too. The best one in the game for this purpose is the Dark Iron Staff, which is unlocked after Chapter 5's secret area, specifically in New Game Plus. This looks at your defense number and adds a big chunk of that to your attack, and this has a fantastic conversion rate, giving you a significant amount of attack. I'm not even in a mythical set, only legendary, and I'm getting over 100 attack from the staff's unique effect alone. The other way to build this then is for consistency. Cloud Step itself gives you a lot of crit chance as you are sitting in stealth, so it does make up for quite a bit of this, so it's not particularly inconsistent without this, but if you really want to, you can build hard into crit chance, get a lower pop of individual damage, but have it be really reliable and frequent. The best weapon in the game for that version of it would be the Adept Spine Shooting Fubon Staff, which comes with 25% crit chance just as a base, and still 120 attack, so it's still very solid on the damage side too, but the unique effect of this does not affect the actual spirit skill. This one seems to cap out at around 9k on the damage for the actual version that this is, as opposed to just under 14,000 for the much higher damage but lower reliability version, so it's quite a large difference, but it sort of depends on how you want to play it. Because this is for consistency, I would also recommend swapping to the Golden Armor set though, which would let you regenerate chi on crits. Use Staff Spin to crit super quickly and build it up. Job's easy if you do that. 2 spirit skills will pretty much end every fight if you're using that setup, but that's arguably far less cool than ending fights in 1 spirit skill, even if it's a little bit less consistent. So that's the version that I'm going to be showing properly for the rest of the video. Then for the vessel, you want the Weaver's Needle, ideally purely for the crit chance and crit damage passive equip effect, and this is from the secret area of Chapter 4. Then for your spirit, you obviously want the Wandering Wight, and of course fully upgraded to maximize the actual hit. This of course comes from the Wandering Wight optional boss itself in Chapter 1. Then for your armor, for higher damage potential versions of this, you want the Centipede Armor with the Venomous Arm Guard specifically, which is a secondary optional part for this, and these are an ultimate arm piece that you can get from the Venom Taoist optional boss if you specifically break 4 of the arms on its back in its first encounter of Chapter 4. The set bonus of this sort of mixes together, and it gives you around a 20% attack increase while you are suffering from Poison Bane, as well as massively reducing the damage of being poisoned. These specific gloves also uniquely come with 3% crit chance themselves, and have the unique effect of making your critical hits apply Poison Bane, effectively making them poison damage hits, just as a bit of a bonus. Then for our curios, as I am now in New Game Plus, I will starting to include the 4th curio slot, but we have the Jade Moon Rabbit, which is a guaranteed story reward which increases your damage reduction, and the Gold Sun Crow, which is right near the Petal Fall Hamlet Shrine in the Chapter 4 secret area. This gives you a damage bonus and both this and the Rabbit Curio have their effect boosted if you have both of them equipped together. And we do this mostly so we get the 3% damage boost, as 3% damage in the setup is actually a fair amount of bonus. And then we also have the gold spike plate to give bonus defense, mostly because this will translate to being 6 attack with the Dark Iron Staff on. If you're using a different staff though, replace this with the White Seashell Waist Chain, which is just 5 attack for being equipped. Then in the final slot we have the Beast Buddha Curio, which is a 9% crit damage increase that is farmed as an RNG drop from the dual-bladed monk enemies, one of which you can farm right beside the Towers of Karma Shrine in Chapter 3. Past that then we also have our Gourd, which for the sake of the one-shot potential version of this should be the Immortal Blessing Gourd, which is purchased from the Brewing Monkey. This reduces the healing of the gourd use by 50%, but increases your attack after you drink from it. If you want a more comfortable setup with higher healing, feel free to swap this out, but this is a pretty solid synergy for what we're going for. Inside of this then we have the Long Bomb Drink, which is right behind the Yin Yang Fish boss fight in Chapter 5, and this gives a significant attack increase to our next hit after you drink from your gourd, which is of course going to be our Spirit Headbutt. Then for the Soaks, Breath of Fire for a boost to the Unveiling Strike after drinking from the gourd, which again will be the Headbutt, and this comes from Cyan Long in Chapter 3. The Tiger Relic Soak for a moderate crit chance increase after drinking, and this comes from the backside of the Crouching Tiger Temple in Chapter 2 before you reach the Cellar Shrine. The Death Stinger Soak, which makes us poison ourselves when we are drinking to activate our armor effects, and this comes from the Scorpion Prince Spirit enemy in the Little Village by the Verder Bridge Shrine in Chapter 4. Then finally the Tender Jade Lotus, specifically if using the Dark Iron Staff, as this increases defense for a short duration after drinking, which can then of course translate into even more attack. Moving on then, we have our relic choices and our skill tree nodes of note for the build. Starting off with the relics, your highest priority in Craving Eyes is critical hit damage, with second highest priority being Cloud Step cooldown reduction. For Fuming Ears, highest priority is attack increase after a perfect dodge, as that is capable of lining up. You can dodge while in stealth, and so you can perfect dodge while in stealth too. Second priority is varied combo iframes, just on the off chance that you do use those for general combat. For Hubris Nose, damage bonus after casting a spell is a great synergy for this. Dodge iframe increase is just a pretty good second priority. After this, you pretty much have just personal choices, though the healing recovery from Soaks and Envious Tongue is pretty great for us with all the Soaks that we have. Grieved Body is entirely personal choice, and then for Freed Mind and New Game Plus, it is again personal choice because none of these things specifically synergize with our singular large hit specifically from the Spirit skill. Past that then we have our skill tree choices, and you want to fully fill out the Cloud Step tree, mainly for the offensive bonuses of increased crit chance and massive damage increase for Unveiling Strike. Then you can fill out the Immobilize tree for comfort, but the only mandatory thing here for the setup itself is the 2 points that we put into Crash for bonus damage to immobilized enemies. For Staff Stances, you want to choose whichever one of these that you like, whichever one you prefer using. It will not affect the Spirit skill usage at all, but in any situation where the Spirit does not one-shot a boss for whatever reason, you will just be fighting it afterwards with your normal staff. So more damage for that and more actual utility for it is good too. Then in Foundation, none of this is mandatory at all to use the combo properly, but the survival upgrades that increase your attack, crit chance, and crit damage all have an effect on the damage potential of the Spirit skill itself, and the other things are just nice for comfort. So these are all quite good if you have the spare points. That just about does it for the equipment then, so let's quickly walk through the playstyle just to be perfectly clear about how to use this. You want to walk into a boss fight, use Cloud Step, wait a few seconds to let your crit chance and damage buffs activate from delaying the Unveiling Strike, drink from your gourd to poison yourself and activate all of our gourd related damage boosts, then Immobilize, which you can do from stealth without breaking it, and while the target is immobilized, break stealth with the Wandering Wight Spirit skill Headbutt for massive damage. If the enemy is still alive, whack them with your staff, because this build just has insane damage even outside of the Spirit too. If you would prefer lower damage potential but much more consistency, we talked about that too, you just want to build higher crit chance over raw attack with your staff choice and use the golden armor set instead of poisoning yourself. Simple as that. I hope you've all enjoyed this then, just really maximizing the pure damage a single use of a Spirit skill can do. And I find it a little bit poetic, honestly, that it is literally the first Spirit you can technically come across in this game as well, and from a boss that has beaten players up a significant amount too, so it's nice to just be able to turn that and use them against other bosses. Let us know what other kinds of builds you'd want to see us tackle and make the most out of in the future, playstyles that you think might be fun, and maybe we'll even bring it to life in the near coming days. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice. to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.